Hello, I'm Tracy Grimshaw. Welcome to A Current Affair. Coming up tonight, cracking down on the Irish Gypsies. We're there as they bring down the roof bandits.
Enjoy the trip back home, mate.
On hold and hating it. Those outrageous phone waiting times. We name the worst offenders. The hidden dangers of weekend sport. How families are being hit with big bills when their kids get hurt. The rebel real estate agent who's shaking up the industry by cutting his sales commission. And Ray Martin sits down with Michael Buble for our exclusive interview with the King of Swing.
And I'm feeling so good.
We begin with the dramatic arrest today of another Irish gypsy, one of the thousands of bogus contractors who come to Australia every year preying on the elderly and the vulnerable. But this time it was the scammer who got done over.
Anything to say, Jeremiah, that might help us out and understand why travelling conmen come to Australia?
It's illegal what they're doing. They're dodgy in their work.
An Irish roof bandit busted and cuffed for good measure. Jeremiah, just give us some insight, mate, to what a travelling conman thinks about. He's a bogus repairman in Australia illegally, and Jeremiah Morehouse also preyed on the vulnerable.
The majority of our victims are elderly people.
But one Aussie saw straight through the hustle when the hard sell kicked in.
He just kept hassling and dropped it down, said no again, dropped it down by another 100, said no again.
I'm from New South Wales Fair Trading, and I've got 2 court attendance notices.
Today, it's the walk of shame that will bring a smile to the face of anyone who's been ripped off by a travelling conman.
We're talking $40 million a year in revenue that is going out of Australia or detriment to consumers.
We're with Jeff Burns from New South Wales Fair Trading as police swoop on a caravan park where these bandits hide out. Authorities were sent on the trail thanks to Western Sydney resident Sonny.
I just had a little flyer, that was it, just a quarter of the size of a A4 bit of paper, just cut out, that was it basically.
Sonny says he was cold called at home. The offer was $1,400 to do the following.
Clean, seal, fix the ridge capping, replace broken tiles, that sort of stuff, and wash down the walls and windows after.
Eventually he agreed to pay $800 for the work, but the job was beyond shoddy. It was laughable.
It looked okay, just from far. Then when I got a closer look at it, I wasn't too happy with the work they'd done. It wasn't 100% clean. Still, a few tiles were broken that weren't replaced. Ridge capping wasn't fixed up.
Sonny never paid the money. He instead called Fair Trading, and today they pounced with police. Well, it certainly looks like the noose is tightening on travelling conmen right around Australia. Earlier this month, police raided this very same caravan park in Western Sydney where they arrested 9 people who are facing deportation. Today, they've found another one, an Irishman who's outstayed his visa. He's now facing deportation as well.
We have intelligence which we've collected over the last 3 to 4 years that indicate there's in excess of 1,000 members of this group who are in Australia active at any one time.
Well, this gypsy isn't active anymore. While we celebrate, the Irishman will soon be drowning his sorrows in a pint of Guinness back in Britain. Just give us one word, mate, on why you tried to rip off the guy around the corner with his roof. You're not even a licensed builder. Enjoy the trip back home, mate.
And Mr Morehouse is now being questioned by immigration officials, and we're told he is likely to be kicked out of the country. Now to another con man who's going straight to jail. Gabrielle Pennicott ripped off millions of dollars from mum and dad investors, promising pie-in-the-sky returns and guarantees their money was 100% safe.
And I don't blame you if you're sceptical.
ACA reporter Martin King was on the trail of Pennicott and his cronies back in 2005. Pennicott fled Australia but was tracked down in Canada and brought back to Melbourne to face justice. Today, the shyster was jailed for a maximum of 6 years and 3 months. Now to our report on the businesses that put you on hold when you call, those annoying waiting times that test your patience and cost you money.
How does it make you feel when you're kept on hold by companies?
It feels like you're neglected. It's like they don't even care about you.
They said your wait time is approximately 20 minutes. To be put on hold or music or told the 1, 2, 3 for this or that and you're distracted from something else, you want someone to answer the phone.
It feels like an eternity.
We apologise for the extended delay.
Yeah, you don't want to be sitting on hold for minutes after minute, especially when you've got a little one as well.
On hold.
And we will be with you as soon as possible.
Endless automated menus.
If you are calling about an existing prepaid mobile service, press 1, press 4, press 3, press 2, press 3. For all other inquiries, press 6.
It's frustrating and sometimes you don't know which number to press to actually get what you really want.
They all do it. Banks, telcos, airlines, insurance and energy companies, and government agencies. Tonight, we're putting them on the clock for the ultimate customer service time test.
We know that people hate being left on hold. I mean, people are time poor these days. They've rung for a specific reason. They want to get a response as quickly as they can, and they don't think that companies should be wasting their time having them sit on the phone.
First, we're trying the banks.
Welcome to St George.
Our producer, Steph Screw, and I are seeing how long it takes for us to be put through to a real person.
We are currently receiving an extremely high volume of calls.
Please say lost or
We start with St George. First, the endless menus.
existing card or new card.
Then this.
We are experiencing high call volumes at the moment. However, we will be with you in less than 8 minutes.
Less than 8 minutes.
Westpac is even worse.
Thanks for your patience. Our banking representatives are still busy.
More than 10 minutes and we're still waiting.
I think a lot of people call companies with the expectation that they'll get good customer service. And I think a lot of companies promote that as part of their brand and part of the customer experience. And when that doesn't happen, people get annoyed.
If you're on hold for any more than 2 minutes, it's too long, according to retail expert Colin McLeod.
I think 60 seconds would be within the expectation of customers, so it's probably a reasonably good experience, but still not outstanding.
The fastest of the banks to take our call were ANZ at 1 minute 38 and NAB at 2:28. Commonwealth took 7 minutes 15, St George 11 minutes 30, and Westpac an infuriating 15 minutes 32.
Welcome to Westpac. My name's Jade. I'll be your banking representative. How can I help you?
Oh, hi Jade. Sorry, I've been waiting so long I forgot why I've called. Sorry.
The energy companies were pretty quick. Energy Australia answered our call in 2 minutes 45 and AGL in just over a minute. But the telephone torture continued when we called the airlines.
For new bookings, press 1. For today's up to the minute.
Qantas kept us on hold for a tedious 6 minutes 48.
Thank you for your patience. Please continue to hold.
But Virgin at 1 minute and Jetstar 2 minutes were quick. But we weren't talking to a call centre in Australia.
What country are you in?
We're taking calls on behalf of Jetstar. We're physically located in Manila, Philippines.
All right, no
There was one telco that took its time.
Thanks for calling Telstra. If you hold, we should get to your call in about 3 minutes.
Well, she said it would be about a 3-minute wait. We're now at 5.5 and still waiting.
Telstra finally answered after 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Vodafone a minute 44 and Optus just 55 seconds.
It can make a difference what time of day you call if it's during a busy period, but it's really hard as a customer to know when those busy periods are.
What makes all this so much worse is that being kept waiting for service by these companies could be costing you money if you call from a mobile. Elise Davidson from the Australian Communications Consumer Action Network.
Prepaid customers will typically pay a higher rate to call these numbers, and even if you are on a plan, it can cost up to $1.78 per minute to contact somebody on a 13 or a 1800 number.
Back at the time test, Foxtel has got one of those annoying voice recognition systems that never quite seems to understand what you're saying.
To order a movie or main event, right?
No, wrong.
I'm sorry. Maybe a little differently.
Hello? Hello?
Sorry, I still didn't understand. Please say the date.
4 minutes 20 and we're finally through. AAMI was the quickest insurance company in our survey at 48 seconds. NRMA a minute 10, but GIO took 11 minutes and 32 seconds. So what about the government agencies? Well, Medicare answered in just over a minute, but Centrelink was a very different story.
Well, we've been in the queue waiting to speak to someone from Centrelink for about 7 minutes, and every few minutes we hear this. It's as though we're about to be put through to a real human being. But guess what? In just a few more seconds, we're going to hear yet another recorded message.
Have you recently visited a doctor?
This went on and on and on for an excruciating 17 minutes and 45 seconds, making Centrelink the longest wait of all.
Bad news travels fast, so the message to companies, if you want to keep your customers, you need to focus on customer service.
And we have heard back from a number of companies, finally, featured in that story. Their responses are on our website. When you take the kids out for sport this weekend, ask yourself this: who foots the medical bill if your child gets hurt? Most parents would assume it's the sporting associations they pay good money to join, but they'd be wrong. Just ask Evelyn Smith.
I've got a fractured cheekbone, an eye socket.
Really disgusted with the whole system. It's a rip-off. We're not covered at all.
It's the great insurance loophole that's leaving Aussie parents furious.
It's a bit of a rort.
Insurance companies are rejecting the simplest of claims, hiding behind government legislation.
The federal legislation does not allow a general insurer to cover medical expenses.
For example, with QBE, the provider of Football New South Wales personal accident insurance policy, items like bandages, tape and crutches are all excluded from QBE policy benefits.
We all get told our fees are going up because of insurances. What insurances? They don't even cover bandages.
MRIs, CAT scans and surgeons' bills are all not covered with the QBE policy, meaning your kids may not be fully protected if they get hurt, and you could get a bill like Evelyn Smith. She's currently out of pocket $3.5 grand after her son Cameron was badly injured in a soccer game.
And I just slipped, and unfortunately I fell right near the ball, and the striker's come through with his knee and just collected my face.
The teenager's cheekbone and eye socket were both fractured in the accidental hit.
Plate under my eye socket, and I've got a plate in my left cheekbone. So that's just to realign this side with this side.
The only money they got back was from Medicare and their private health insurance.
That's it, there's the rejection. No QBE benefits payable. They sent it all back.
Evelyn was given the claim forms by Cameron's own soccer club. The club then passed on the forms to Football New South Wales and they lodged the claim on the family's behalf.
They gave us the paperwork to fill out and they lodged it for us. So, I mean, if they don't know if we're covered, how am I supposed to know?
I'm not across the detail of what is considered a medical expense.
Eddie Moore, the CEO of Football New South Wales, admits even he's not clear on all the fine print, but says they hand out flyers at the start of the season advising parents to get private health insurance if they want additional cover.
We are not able to cover for general medical expenses. We cover the non-Medicare expenses of dental, ambulance, physiotherapy and others.
Cameron did have private health insurance, but after rebates, the gap is still $3,500.
We just are very, very disappointed that really nobody wants to pay up here.
In a written statement to ACA, QBE said it was a general insurer and not a health fund. And like Football New South Wales insists that a general insurer can't provide any cover for Medicare expenses, including any Medicare gap. QBE also states this is made very clear on various documents and websites.
It's nearly impossible to pay any sport that's fun and where there's no injuries.
Dr Gordian Fulda, the head of emergency at St Vincent's Hospital, says sporting injuries peak on weekends.
The most common sport injuries are basically from the knee down. The knee, the ankle.
Dr Fulda says the public hospital system will always cover everything in an emergency, but the problem comes when the matter isn't urgent.
Where you might need more sophisticated care, such as arthroscopies, in other words, looking what's wrong in your knee, there can be a bit of a problem time-wise if you have not private insurance.
Cameron says he'll continue playing soccer, while Mum Evelyn hopes by going public, more parents will become aware of just how pitiful the existing insurance is.
It's not right.
I think we need to have a better policy for our children.
And if you've had any issues with claiming insurance for your children, let us know. There are still 58 sleeps to Christmas, but the festive spirit is already here thanks to the king of swing, Michael Buble. Ray Martin caught up with him in London.
Merry Christmas, ladies.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Buble.
Are you ready to sing a little jingle bells?
Yeah.
Michael Buble sings as he swings, all smiles and all smooth, and full of Christmas cheer. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's great fun.
I feel like I had a baby. Thank you very much.
But when we caught up with Buble in a swanky London hotel room, it was more than jingle bells that kept ringing.
Hello? It's also a phone. It's
amazing.
This hotel has been great for press so far.
Michael Buble has now sold more than 30 million albums and heaps in Australia.
My mind's more at
His velvety voice is compared to music icons like Sinatra, Tony Bennett and Bobby Darin. So the Canadian crooner decided that it was time to take on the king of Christmas, Bing Crosby. What took you so long?
I wanted to establish myself as an artist, really, before I put out what I wanted to be the quintessential Christmas record.
Now, someone told me you'd spent 10 years preparing for this album.
Oh, I did. I wanted to. This was the record I always wanted to make. Christmas was always huge for me in my house, and it was the first record that actually introduced me to all this music was Bing Crosby.
But is there something sacred about Christmas songs?
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, I actually thought about making sure that I paid respect to where the respect was due, because people, listen, this is really a one time a year where people yearn for comfort, you know, because it takes them right back to their childhood, to the warmth of their youth, you know what I mean?
Can I suggest?
Of course you can suggest whatever you want.
That this is a Michael Buble album as much as a Christmas album.
Yeah. You know what, man? Every year you see 10 artists put out their Christmas records, and usually, like I said, they're just thrown out there, and they can be pretty disposable, but I worked probably as hard or harder on this record than I've worked on any of my studio records.
This is your selection, I take it, of old songs and new.
Yeah, and I love the melancholy songs too. It can't all be silver bells, silver bells. You've got, you know, there's got to be some fun, you know, people want to, there's a really good mix.
when those blue or snowflakes are falling.
Michael, you've sold, what, 30 million albums now, 2 million of those in Australia. How come Australians have taken to you so much?
Thank you, Australia.
Do we just have good taste?
You guys are very sexy too. You know what? I say it all the time, but I'm from Canada, which is Australia, but just cold. We're very similar. I mean, real down-to-earth, blue-collar, great sense of humor, dry sense of humor. I believe it's the reason why all my friends who tell me that they're going to go to Australia for a holiday for 2 weeks never come back and end up being deported because they don't have their, you know, their visa. And the same is if. Welcome to the Soho Hotel. Give me the phone.
Can I rip it out? No.
Come on, let me talk to them.
Hello?
Now, this is where the smooth Mr. Nice Guy Buble stays nice. But it's clearly time for the heavy artillery.
Never call this room.
Ooh, I'd be scared if I got that call.
Thank you.
Okay, call one more time. Just one more time.
How do you think crowds differ, let's say, from Australia to Canada or Japan?
It's funny, you know, the Australian audience, for whatever reason, is a little more liberal. When you get them in a big room together, the Canadians could be pretty quiet. And the Australians are nuts. It's beautiful. They get it. I mean, Australians have a great sense of humor.
One of the songs here is in Spanish. Do you speak Spanish or sing Spanish?
Oui. I mean, si. Yeah, I do. No, I speak okay. I mean, I've learned as much as I could from my wife. My wife couldn't speak any English when I met her. Now, of course, she's completely fluent, and
your Spanish is ordinary?
And my Spanish is okay. I can speak, but I speak probably like a caveman.
Last May, Buble broke 10 million women's hearts when he married his gorgeous Argentinian girlfriend and model, Luciana. and he admits that the Spanish Christmas song is a payoff for his new bride.
You know, that was a tribute to my girl and her family. The first time I think that she heard me singing in Spanish, I think it meant a lot to her.
Michael, you're an old married man now. What's marriage taught you?
Well, I've learned that love needs to be unbalanced.
Unbalanced?
Yes, I've learned that the man needs to love the woman a little bit more. And if that's the truth, then my wife has played this game perfectly, because I'm like a stupid dog chasing after her car.
Are men more romantic than women?
I actually just read somewhere that there was a big study done that said that women prefer sex to cuddling and men prefer cuddling to sex sometimes. So.
Do you believe that? Subscribe to that?
No.
It's fun to do a Merry Christmas.
It's my pleasure. Merry Christmas to you. And Tracy, Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, Michael. You definitely need that voice on your Christmas playlist, and his album is out today. Coming up, the real estate rebel who's saving you money by cutting his sales commission.
We've sold just over 60% of all of our listings, and that would be above average.
Welcome back. The real estate experts say we're in a buyer's market, which means if you're selling your home, every single dollar counts. And that makes the following offer even more attractive. A rebel agent who's offering to cut his sales commission by at least 95%.
They've gone out of their way to try to put me out of business because they feel threatened by what I do.
He's the agent making big waves in an industry that's under the pump.
The dirty tactics has been phenomenal, really.
Michael Atwell will sell your home for peanuts, and it's a style of selling that's got real estate industry bigwigs in a lather.
There's been a lot of animosity towards my business and basically try to put me out of business. One of the real estate sites has actually tried to increase my subscription overnight by 1,000%. To try to force me to increase my price to my consumers, because they get so much flack from their mainstream real estate clients that this guy is undermining their business.
There's no need to pay expensive agents' commissions.
Paul Brooks wanted to sell his Melbourne home, but balked at the cost of hiring an agent.
Anything from about $15,000 up to maybe $20,000 to sell our house. I haven't had any agents convince me that I should pay them $15,000 or $20,000 just to talk to people who are interested in selling my home.
So he's hired Paul Atwell at a fraction of the price.
We only charge $399 to list on all the dominant sites, and then $99 per month, or $795 flat fee until sold.
That gets your property listed on forSaleForLease.com.au, plus the market-leading real estate and domain websites too. And there's no commission.
It sounds cheap on one hand and when you're paying, but really you've got to compare it to, on the other hand, what happens at the other end, what you're selling for.
Robert Rockers from the Real Estate Institute of Victoria, and says cut-price agents do come at a cost.
When you're selling your biggest asset, you want the best return and you want someone to do the best job on that. I mean, you wouldn't go to a mechanic and get them just to fix half of your car and do the other half yourself. You wouldn't go to an accountant and get them to do some of your tax but not all of it.
But when times are tight, agents get creative.
OK, here we go, we're into the house itself.
Like Peter Gibson, who films his clients' homes.
The bathroom, well, it's a typical bathroom, isn't it? There it is, with bright, colourful shower curtain behind that. We've got the shower over the bath.
Using his own handycam and puts it on the web. Or Rob Keat, who got into strife with other agents by advertising his cut-rate commissions, but got plenty of punters through the door as a result.
How much does it cost to sell somebody's home?
Oh, well, we're doing it for $6,500 in most cases, and we're making a decent profit out of that.
The newest cut-price selling plan is no frills. You even have to run your own open for inspections, but Paul maintains it works.
A lot of the buyers have expressed they're happy and more comfortable doing it directly with me rather than with an agent.
We've sold just over 60% of all of our listings, and that would be above average.
He even predicts that up to a quarter of all homes will be sold his way within the next 3 years. But in a cutthroat industry, traditional agents say they've got the best incentive possible to get you the biggest possible price when you put your home on the market.
If they don't sell, they don't get paid. There will always be a segment in the market for someone who's offering a bit of this and a bit of that and not quite the full service, or even some people like to sell their own home. But people do vote with their feet, and the vast majority choose to sell with a fully licensed real estate agent because they know that's the way to get the best outcome.
And you can find more information on that story at our website. Next on A Current Affair, the 4 babies who've made Tony and Brett proud and unlikely parents.
It was an amazing experience, but it was also a very scary experience.